Today we're talking about the latest release from PowerTeam Lures, and that is the 3.6 JP Hammer Shad that I was lucky enough to get in on the design level with Bob, the owner. Now this is a bait that we designed primarily for drop shotting, and we've used it a number of ways on a number of techniques, and it's been incredibly successful. And the reason being is the design of the bait. It moves, it looks real, it's got profile, it's got scent, it's got everything. Today we're going to talk about drop shotting and how to take advantage of using the Hammer Shad to fill your boat. Now drop shotting is one of the easiest ways to catch inactive, active, neutral fish. It's a phenomenal technique, but it really has to do a lot with your setup. Having that proper setup is going to make you a better drop shot fisherman. And I always talk about it, on my show I always talk about having the proper rod, reel, and line, and this is no different. So when I pick a rod for drop shotting, depending how tall you are, how long a rod you like, I like to go with a 7'1", 7'2", 7 foot. That's a great length for a drop shot rod. So I'm using a 7'1". It's a medium power rod, but the real trick is the extra fast action. You want that soft, supple tip that you can make little shakes with and impart that action directly to the bait. When we talk about putting a hook, we, on this bait, have been using the #1 Eagle Claw Wacky Rig hook. And we've been rigging it. I'll show you close-ups of rigging it. That is the right size gap for the profile of the JP Hammer Shad. When you're picking your lead, drop shotting, you could do it this far off the bottom, or you can go 3 feet off the bottom. It depends on what the fish are doing. What I tell most people is when you're going to start drop shotting, experiment. I recommend usually 14 to 16 inches as a starting point. And if you find that as you're dropping it, they're eating the bait lower at the bottom, you can shorten your lead. Or sometimes you'll see the fish suspending. And if you're marking them on your graph and they're suspending higher up, you can make the lead longer. For line, I love using fluorocarbon. I think it's the most effective technique to catch them, but there's a number of ways you could do it. I use an 8-pound mainline fluorocarbon, but I've also in deep water or in windy conditions where you need that little bit of extra sensitivity, I go down to a light braid. So I'll use a 10-pound test Power Pro, and then I'll tie off an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader, and I'll put on 10 or 12 feet of it. That lets me get that bait down, stay in contact, have that extra sensitivity, especially when you're looking for transitions in the bottom. For a real simple spinning reel, you could also do this technique on bait casting, and the real trick is just how you move the bait. And that's the biggest part of drop shotting. Now the first thing you're going to need to know when you're drop shotting is how to properly tie your hook, and it's a fairly simple method. We're simply using a Palomar knot. And you can see when you tie a Palomar knot, you basically slip your line through, you come back through again, do an overhand loop just like tying your shoes, okay? And then the trick is to determine how long of a lead you want is how long you're going to pull your tag end through. And then once it's cinched down and you wet it, you take that tag end and slip it through the top of the eye. Now when that goes through the top of the eye, that's going to make that hook stand perfectly straight the way you want it. It's going to sit out to the side, point up. If you don't run your tag end through, your hook could turn over. It depends how you tie it. So we always run the tag end through the top of the hook, come back down, and then to attach your weight simply with a clip, you would slip your line through your clip, and I like to tie 2 overhand knots. Just tie 1 and 2 through the weight just to secure it, because sometimes if the clips are too snug, they'll actually just snap your line and you'll lose a lot of weight that way. Now with the JP Hammer Shad, you'll notice that we came out with 14 colors, and we picked these colors for very specific reasons. Whether you're fishing lakes that are emerald shiner based or smelt based or any of the natural minnows, we design colors to complement those. Colors like Tasty Tilapia, Casper Blue Shad, Slam Shad, Smoking Minnow, and Money, they're going to be perfect color baits for minnow infested lakes anytime you're fishing those. Then we've got colors that follow the goby line or the sculpin line, Spicy Goby, Sexy IU, regular green IU. All of those colors are designed to mimic what they feed on. But then we even have targeted colors like Panic Perch, and we have green or dark melon creamsicle. We have a bunch of different colors. Front Runner, which is one of my favorites on Lake Erie, that green pumpkin, gold, and purple fleck. So with the Hammer Shad, you are covered under any situation you're going to be in, whether it's water clarity, forage base, or it's the shape and profile that you're looking for. The Hammer Shad is a very versatile bait that will catch fish all over the country.